We're going to move you over here to the big table where everything else is at, and we'll just try to skim through it and see what's here. This is a bunch of boring bars right here. There was a couple that looked pretty nice in this lot, and that's why I went for it. You've got a really nice snap tap threading bar right here. 1.25 inches or 1.5 inch shank there. This one, good for getting in there doing inside grooves. And this one's pretty cool because you can actually reach into a bore and get on a face. That's how that's configured. Get in there and do a back face on something. All right, and there's another nice bore. If you got to get in there and do some relieving with that. So there's several different configurations of bore, and there's a couple more for grooves. Getting in there and doing some internal grooving. Look at this big old monster bore bar right here, man. That is a big boy. Somebody's turned it to fit into a holder. This is a brand new Jacobs chuck right here. I believe it was it's a 16N Jacobs Super Chuck, brand new, never been used. And then there's this little guy right here too. This is an 8.5N. Another Super Chuck. I love the Super Chucks. They just are easier to tighten, and they seem to have better holding pressure than the other style of chucks that they make. So some indexable tooling right there, an old boring head, some more boring bars. There's the old boring head. Not really my style that I like. It does have the R8 shank. You can use it in your Bridgeport. There's some boring bars for a boring head right there, so these kind of go with that, or a Criterion. There's a big live center. That's an Inco brand. Oh look, the whole thing moves. The 6 Morse taper. It's the big stuff. That's what I had run on the American Pacemaker at work. That one's locked up. So dead centers. Here's a nice drill chuck right here. It's another 16. It's an 18N. I'm sorry. And I say it's nice. It's locked up. So maybe it's not good. Bunch of drill chucks, some more centers. You know, I believe these two right here, I mean, they went for nothing. So I just raised my hand because nobody was bidding on them, and I got them. So maybe we can repurpose some of this stuff and resell some of it. That's a good 16N there. This is the box that had all the tap wrenches in it. So there's a few decent ones in here, and I've been trying to find the names on some of them, and I can't tell what that says. It looks like UE. Oh, I'm sorry, it's UB. So that's Union Butterfield. All right, so there we go. We got a Union Butterfield tap wrench. There's another Union Butterfield. That's cool. I don't think I have any Union Butterfield tap wrenches, so some good ones for the collection there. I'm not sure about this one. I'm not seeing a maker's mark on it, but it's the same style as a Greenfield tap and die, so I'm not sure. And this is the same. Not seeing a name on there. Got a couple die stocks. There's a pulley tap right there. Long pulley tap. And here's an Acme tap. I can't read the size offhand. I'd have to clean it off, so I'm not sure what that is. It looks to be around 1.5 inches or so. Acme tap. A whole bin full of taps. A reamer, a bunch of taps in there. And then right over here we've got more boring bars. There's some good boring bars like this guy right there. This is the kind of stuff that goes into CNC machines. So a bunch of different, these are all good boring bars right here. There's a couple missing some tools down there. There's a threading for a snap tap, so good threading bar there. Grooving bar, doesn't look like it's been used much. I never even looked in this. We'll see what this is. There we go. Look at that. So it's a Seco, and that is an Acme thread insert on there. I had to rejuvenate the battery there in the camera, So there's a good bar right there. Looks like a 1" for CNMG. There's some threading mills right there. I have no use for those. Some carbide tipped drills. There's another Seco snap tap threading bar. That's that smaller size. That one, that's a nice one actually. I need to see about getting some inserts for that one right there. And we got a carbide indexable mill right there. There's another, there's an indexable mill that's never been used before, Seco. Alright, so I think that's about it for this lot. Here's a good 2" bar right there. It takes a DNMG insert. This is all reamers. I put them all together. There was 2 boxes of them. Rock River Tool. Bunch of reamers in there. Alright, you guys have seen drill bits. I've stacked all these together. You've got silver Deming style, or like, you know, reduced shank style of drill bits. Like this here. There's a bunch of them. There's some taper shank drills up there. And I believe I got all of these as one. It was one money. All 4 lots is one. So I couldn't just let them sit there. Look, here's a brand new one. Chicago Latrobe. 63/64 drill bit, brand new. I think there's one more right here. Let's see what this one is. It's another brand new one. 21/32. Plenty of drill bits right there. Plenty to get rid of. I probably don't need any of them. I'm gonna kind of dig through and see what's there. There's some little Morse taper drills here. I think just about every shop, and anybody that has a shop, has piles of this stuff. This box is full of carbide end mills. There's some more taps right there. Here's some more. I think these are going to be end mills right here. It's a bunch of different high speed. Just a whole box full of them. Niagara. And then we've got countersinking tools right there and chamfers. High-speed steel end mills. There's a few really good ones in there, like this guy right here. This looks like a 1" roughing end mill. There's a few good ones in there, but these are all used, but there are some good ones in there. I have to go through this. There's some more high-speed end mills that went for dirt cheap money. Let's see what this is right here. Okay, so there's a nice end mill. It says 1 7/16. Huh. 3/4 shank. I don't even know if I have a 1 7/16 diameter end mill, but there's some good ones in there. A lot of these roughing mills, now that one's burned up. It looks like some of them are still good, like that one. That one's good. There's a slugger bit, you know, annular cutter, brand new. Slugger goes in a mag drill. You can use them on a mill too if you build you a little adapter. Alright, so these are high speed, and then this box right here, and then there's another box underneath it. See that? Those are all carbide. I'll try to move it so you can see it better. But I was trying to be careful and not bang these around. It's just really heavy. And but these are all carbide right here. Carbide end mills. I believe they're all used, but I inspected a bunch of them before the auction, and a lot of them are brand new. They've never been used before, such as that guy right there. So I got to do some organizing and get some of these bins to where I can put this stuff in there. I'll move this one over so you could see. This was the really nice looking bin of carbide, and it kind of shuffled around a little bit with the move, but there's a lot of them in here that are brand new that never been used before, and that's why I wanted to get these. I don't have a whole lot of carbide. I have a small selection of carbide, so I was going for it to try to increase my carbide cutters around here. There's a lot of Niagara brand cutters in here. Look at that, the live center. It looks like a Bison brand. Nah, Toolmex Corporation. And that should be a, I believe that's a #1 Morse taper right there. Live center. Huh. Isn't that something? I didn't expect to see that in there. Alright, so here's all the taps. There's 3 whole lots right here, bins full of taps. A lot of big taps in there. Look at that, there's an Acme tap for you. So 1.5 inch for Acme. Some big taps, 1 7/8, 8. So I've got all the big taps together. Look at this. Now here's your what do you say, a Muge spiral fluted tap, 1.25 inch, 7. Cool. There's all kind of different size taps in there. There's some Hanson Whitney sets, 7/8, 14. Brand new set of taps right there. There's another tap wrench. One of the little El Cheapies. These are the kind that like to break on you. Alright, so there's a couple more spiral fluted taps in there. Alright, and look at this bin right here. So this is really sweet right here, man. There's a bunch of spiral fluted taps. So this is one I'm going to go through and pick me out some and put some in my bin, so I'll have a good selection of them. Some more hand taps. Lots of hand taps right here. Two-inch pipe tap. Brand new taps, 3/4 10. Just trying to find anything cool to share with you. Definitely not a bolt extractor right there. There's a lot of new stuff buried in here. There's an odd one. 1 1/16, 12. You don't use that very much in the hydraulic world. This comes up every now and then. There's a long pipe tap. I don't have anything like that. That's cool. Long reach application. So I'm gonna enjoy going through that and picking through it and seeing what we got. And this is the rest of the taps here. So more of the same. A lot of pipe taps in here. Another one of those big Amuse taps. Look, here's some brand new ones right there. Union Butterfield, 3/8, 16. Inch and a half, 12. The 12 pitch are very handy in the hydraulic industry because a lot of your big stuff is typically a 12 pitch. Here's a very fine pitch, 1.25 inch, 18. So I'm not going to go through all of them. You get the idea. A lot of good taps there. This is the rest of the clamps that went with the hold downs that I already showed you over on the other table. All this stuff right here. I mean, this is just studs. All right, there's a big tap wrench that came with the tap wrench lot, and they have made a custom jaw for it. I've seen these before. These are still in production. I believe they're India. Yeah, this is stamped India right there. So not bad quality, just not as nice as the old Greenfield, you know. And so yeah, this is the rest of the hold down clamp. So I've got a few like this right here. These are they have a block that goes in there, and I'm not seeing any of them for these, but there's a block that goes in there you can position for different heights. There's some more of those clamps. You can look, those low profile clamps. You can pull on that and wedge against your workpiece. All right, there's a few in there like that. We've already seen one of those. There's a gooseneck clamp. I've got a couple of these in the small variation. There was 2 of them in there. Yeah, here's the other guy right there. All this stuff needs to be cleaned off. See, this is why I wear my gloves, man. I'm so used to having these on now so I don't get this stuff all over my skin. There's another gooseneck clamp. All right, so I was really going after all of these style of clamps like this and those other low profile ones that I showed you. So I'll gather all this stuff and get it organized in a box and cleaned off. And one of these days there'll be a use for this stuff here. All right, so I ended up winning this guy, and I paid 75 bucks for it, which was a really good deal. So this is an optical comparator, and what you use this for, I've never actually used one, but I've seen them many times. and I know what you use it for. You can measure an item and compare something by magnifying it up here and then seeing it in the viewfinder right up here. So it's it looks really heavy, and I was afraid it was going to be heavy, but it's actually aluminum, so you can move it around. All right, my concrete's not perfectly flat there, so you can kind of move it a little bit, but it does work. All you got to do is, it's just a light bulb, really. So you turn it on, and you can put your workpiece up here that you're working on, and then measure it down here and compare it. Okay, so you've got this up here. I'm not sure exactly what this is called, okay, but you can move it just like you would a micrometer, find movements. So you have a X and Y movement so that you can center it up over here in the view in the screen and check it out. So I will let me get you in a little closer so you can see what it looks like. I've just got a carbide insert up there just to have something to look at, though, but you can set it up there, and then you can use the micrometers here to do some fine adjustments on it. And I believe, you know, these are made purposely so that you can rotate these things, and it looks like it's 25 thousandths per revolution. So it works just like a micrometer, and you can move this thing around, all right, both directions. And you can also adjust the height of the light up here to get it in focus down here by turning the hand wheel up here at the top. There you go. Turn it back on, and so we're looking at the insert. I think I got it pretty well in focus right there, and then I'll go ahead and move the table up here using the micrometers to move it around. So I got to practice with this. You have numbers on here. You have graduated numbers on here so that you can use this as a reference for measurements and things like that. But that's about what it's all about. I'm not an expert on these, so I'm not going to pretend to be. I'm just showing you guys what it does. Okay, so this is something nice that I thought I'd be able to get for the shop, since it was, you know, I got it for 75 bucks. All right, guys. Well, that's everything that's here. But I got to make one trip back out there, as I said, and got to deal with a welder. But I'm actually working a deal on the welder now, so I don't think I'm going to be bringing that back home. And I've got a couple of storage bins and the super spacers. So I'm going to bring it back whenever I have all that stuff, and we'll finish it out, show you what's left, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the video. I'm out here getting the rest of the stuff. I just pulled one of these bins out that I had won, and it's the first time I actually got to look at it for real, but it's pretty cool. It's got some taps in it. Look at these spiral fluted taps. 7/16 20, 7/16 14. The old mutt dog been running around. He loves that mud hole over there. So that was some extra goodies that I didn't expect there. 5/8. Other than that, it looks like some a few bolts here and there. Big tap right there. 1 3/8 12. That's a good size to have. All that hydraulic type stuff. All right, so some good storage bins. There's actually 3 of them, and they're all attached together.
I want it.
You want it?
I want storage bins.
She wants all the storage.
I do.
Everything I pick up, she wants it. Will this go in your office?
Yes.
What can you use it for?
I have no idea.
You just want it.
Markers?
Markers, there you go. You can store a lot of markers in this.
I do a lot of art stuff on this.
Alrighty, we got everything loaded up and we are ready to get out of here. So I wasn't expecting to have this much to take home again, but we still got a whole trailer load. We got some stuff. These are the shelves, and then those are the plastic bins that I'll be able to use for storage for taps and cutters. And there's really not a whole lot right here. Just a couple. The clips are in that thing there. This is all the rest of the stuff. So check out all the super spacers. There's 3 of them. They all look, you know, nearly identical, I believe. And then this is some other kind of fixture that they had made up that's really on a vise. It's on a vise base. I'm not really sure what that is, but anyway, they threw that into the lot with all these right here. And we've got a shelf, Some storage bins right there. This is for the hardness tester. A couple carts that all the hardware was on. There's a Troik rotary table. And then this is all the stuff that was on the carts. This is all hold down hardware. A lot of stuff. You ready to unload all this for me? Come on. What if I take you to lunch?
There you go.
Maybe.
Maybe dinner.
Lunch and dinner.
Mike, appreciate it, man.
Nice, thank you very much. Take care.
Check out the YouTube channel.
Absolutely, thank you.
All righty.
Travels, appreciate it.
All right, we're out of here. I made it back home with the second load, and I thought I'd start with the rotary table right here. This is a 12-inch Troik rotary table, and aside from it being rusty and dirty, I bet you this is going to be a nice rotary table right here. It's got the handle with it. It was stuck there with it, so got the handle, and it's just dirty. This is chrome satin dial on there. It needs to be cleaned real well. So this is one right here that I suspect will be a nice cleanup. Sorry, I think it'll be a nice cleanup tool, and it'll be a good one. There's the lock for it. Well, right now I can't get the knob there to turn either way, so I don't know. So anyway, that's it's one of the scores right there. 12-inch Troik rotary table with the handle there. Some of the lots that I won, there was a series of 3 lots on 3 of these carts, and it was all of the hold down hardware, all the studs and clamps and things like that. When I was loading up yesterday, the guys helping that were actually working it loaded up one of the carts that I thought was all 3 of these carts when they rolled it out to my truck, and found out today when I was there that it was actually 2 of these carts still back there with all the stuff on it. And I told Mike there at the auction, I was like, hey, that went with that lot that I won with all 3 carts. He goes, yeah, that's right. So this is the rest of it here, and this is what I would consider plunder, like Mr. Pete likes to call it whenever he shows his auctions. So it's just a total mixture of a lot of different stuff, but this is a lot of different clamping, clamping things right there. There's a few cutters mixed in here. Like, dang, that's a carbide right there. Look at that, brand new. I don't know if it's new, but it appears to be a new carbide. Wow, I need to do something with that. There's another one. This is high speed though. So there's a lot of T-nuts, studs, and bolts mixed in here. There's a knurling tool right there. Just all kind of hardware, and some more of these types of clamps right here. So I've never actually used any of these types of clamps. There's a bunch of them. There's 2 whole bins just slap full of that stuff. This is just more of the stuff that we took down. Let's see, a lot of this come off of one of the shelves that I bought. I put it all in this plastic bin of mine. There's a couple little carbide boring bars in here, and some more lathe tooling, and more hold down clamps and T-nuts and studs, things like that. These big ones right here are going to be really good for use on my rotary welding table. It's got those big giant T-slots in there, so got some of those. There's some Morse taper sleeves right here for drills. Looks like a 1 to a 4. Yep, 1 to 4. And a bunch of these step blocks and all that. So, bunch of plunder. These are what I got off of the one of the shelves that I bought right there. There's a whole bunch of these, and that's one of the reasons why I bid on it, is because it's a shelf with a bunch of shelving, and then it was full of these things right here that'll help me do some organizing. Even if I don't put all these on that shelf, I would like to use these in that Vidmar cabinet for some of the end mill storage. So that's just these are all like dividers for all of those plastic bins. There's a pile of them, and a bunch of taps and stuff that were piled up on that shelf. There was a couple of cutters in there, milling cutters. So lots of plunder, but I don't want to go through all that, so there it is. This is the table that went with the Rockwell hardness tester, and it's pretty heavy too. They did a pretty good job on it, made it nice and stout. Appears to be 1/2-inch plate here and here with 1/4-inch thick angle iron. And what's funny is that they didn't have the plate's big enough to build it the size they want, so they actually have two of them butted up and then stitch welded on the bottom side there, and both top and bottom are that way. But it's a very heavy shelf, or table I mean, so we're going to continue to use it for the Rockwell hardness tester once I figure out an exact resting place that this thing is going to be. I believe I showed you that whenever we were over at the auction place. So another nice storage bin system that we can, I don't know what I'll use it for, but I did want to grab it because it was cheap money, and these are kind of hard to come by that are clean and in good order for cheap money. So we may use it for more tap storage or hardware. I'm not really sure yet, but I've got a place I'm gonna put it in my shed, and whenever I have room, we're gonna put this thing to use right here. So these guys right here are the last of the auction scores that I got to unload, and this is the last bit that I'm going to be showing you. So these three here are identical super spacers, and I don't know what the make of them yet is. I haven't even had time to look them over. But even the you know, I've got a Vertex, which is made in Taiwan, and I think that sucker was like $850 maybe whenever we bought it, you know, 15-20 years ago. These things go for big money. I got these for a really good price, and that fourth one right there, as I mentioned before, is a vice base and some kind of positioner mounted on. That was some kind of custom made deal. They couldn't sell it, nobody bid on it, so the auctioneer said add it to these lots here and just take it. So that's what I did. Hopefully somebody will see this and want to buy that and put it to use. So I can't tell what the make is. There is a tag. There's a tag on it right there, but all it is a number. That's not really telling me what the maker is. So I think I need to get them inside, and I'll look them over real well and see if we can figure out what it is, and then I'll bring it back and we'll take one more look at it, see if we can identify it. I still can't find a maker's mark on these indexers here, so I don't know what they are. I'm going to assume that they're an import brand, but imported from where I don't know. So it could be Taiwan, it could be Chinese, it could be Indian. I have no idea, but they seem to be good units. They've just been used hard, you know, just like a lock handle is a piece of all thread. This was definitely a very grungy shop. It was a well-used shop, and everything in there was pretty well abused from what I could see. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. The tooling, some of the cutting tools still good, but things like this, I mean, shops like that just abuse the crap out of these kind of tools. But I still think they're good units. You can see this one right here. So you use this handle to index it. Again, I've never used this particular style. There's a detent built into this somehow, and I haven't figured out how it detents. There's another pin on this side, but you can click it into a division. I've just got to figure out how you actually do that. So you can see that one's rotating for you, and then that's the lock right there. This one right here doesn't have the handle in the back, but you can rotate it. Alright, got a chuck wrench for all of them. This one's got the lock handle still on it right there. Alright, yeah, there's other features built into this thing right here. I haven't spent any time learning it. And you got one more right here. This one, I don't know what's up with this. This one's not wanting to move, so I don't know if there's an issue with it that's locked up or what. It is missing the other two jaws for it. I don't know if I can maybe find two more jaws that fit it out of all the stuff that I got. I'm not really sure, but anyway, these I'm not keeping. These are going to be for sale. I don't want to hang on to these things. So somebody's interested in coming picking one of these up, let me know. You can come and take one off my hands. All right, so here's the last item. This is that other indexer I'm talking about. This appears to be some kind of homemade setup, and it was a custom deal. So there's a pin there you can pull, and you can rotate this plate around. It's not very tight. It kind of wiggles around, but they got a lock bolt on the back side right there. You can lock it in. Yep, and then you just stick this in there and line it up with the pin. So it looks to me like maybe a chuck goes on here that bolts on, but I think it was a custom made thing for a one-off job. So anyway, you got interest in this thing, please let me know. I don't need it, I just need to get it out of my way. All right guys, that's going to be about it for this series of videos with the auction scores. I hope you guys have been enjoying following along. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably have enjoyed so far what you've seen. Just going through all of my auction plunder, as we like to call it from Mr. Pete, you know. So it was just a really good opportunity to go to a semi-local machine shop auction for me and have the opportunity to bid and, you know, and buy some really good tooling. And a lot of this stuff that I got isn't necessarily stuff that I need, not necessarily stuff I wanted either, but you know, whenever they're selling boxes and boxes of toolings for $10 and $20, you know, it's kind of hard to say no and walk away from that whenever I'm thinking that I could probably buy that and hopefully turn around and sell some of it to be able to pay for the other tools that I really did want to bid for and that I paid more money for. So that was kind of the idea behind some of this, is just loading up on some tooling and hopefully trying to get rid of it and turning it into a little bit of profit, just to kind of even out what I bought there at the auction that I really wanted. So a lot of good stuff. I really like this purchase right here, this Rockwell hardness tester. I know that's a very expensive unit if you have to buy that new. I got it for a really good price. Same thing with that optical comparator over there. Kind of an obsolete thing. I don't know if a lot of people still use them, but they're still a valid machine. And you know, I got it for 75 bucks, so why not? Keep it for a while, play with it, and if I don't need it, you know, maybe let it go to the next person. And that's what we're going to do to some of this other stuff around here that I got. These spacers, the vices. I've got some other tooling and stuff. I'm gonna start continuing to go through it, organize it, and separate the stuff that I wanted to keep and, you know, put it away, and then start having some bins full of the stuff that I'm ready to sell and get rid of around here. All right, so I think that's going to be about it. So we're going to go ahead and sign off on this one. Hope you guys have been enjoying following along. I enjoy bringing you on these little adventures and sharing with you what we get into around here. All right, so we will see you guys on the next video.